I just want to speak a little bit about what happened after One World. What happened to me after One World? And I'll tell you a story. I was in this small town in Ghana, Tempe-Kukua, and there's only one English speaker in it, and I told you this already. But I was clueless. I'd walk around, I couldn't talk to people because I didn't learn the language. And this small 10-year-old, his name was Paul, he had a Christian name because his family was Christian. He also had a Dagomba name. He took me by the hand. And he became my guide and teacher. Now, I mean, I've been teaching for 30 years. I've been a principal. I've been a priest working in parishes. And I was had a 10-year-old boy leading me and teaching me because I was so clueless. It was a wonderful experience to go through. And so now I'm thinking back. In this last few days I've been trying to think back. And, you know, I'm a Brazilian. I belong to the religious community for over 60 years now. And I taught for 30. I was a principal, a Catholic priest. I worked with a lot of parishes, but not on parish staffs, but on Sunday work. And, you know, at the end of this program that we had in Ghana, I'm saying to myself, what do I do now? Who am I? Where do I go? And just this week, a guy named Kelly Walker came and spoke at Presentation Manor where I live. And he played songs and things. But he talked about dancing in the ark. And he talked about, I read the book, I got the book from him. And he's talking about Noah's Ark. And so he uses that as a symbol of our journey. And so I said, yes, that's exactly what it was like. Being in that ark for that whole time in Africa. And, you know, Noah went on the ark because God was going to flood out the land, but then at the end, the flood goes down and he lands again. And he has to start a whole new life. So what a metaphor it is for us all. When we came back from our voyage on this ark, into flooded, all kinds of flooded ideas and cultures and places and things and people and experiences. And then we come back and we land at home. But home isn't the same anymore because we see it differently. So that was no different for me than for any of the other participants. So I'd like to talk about my One World experience as a voyage of transition. So what do I do now? I'm back. I'm a Catholic priest, a teacher, but I'm almost 60 years old, and I've taught for 30 years. I'm not going to do that anymore. So what do? Am I going to be a justice activist? Am I going to be a peacemaker? What am I going to do? How am I going to put this into action? Fortunately, I was living with the Catholic worker, and Jim, and Bill, and Dan, and they were working with homeless people. And Mike Harris was Premier of Ontario, and he just cut the welfare bill by 21.6%. And now everybody on welfare had to decide whether they're going to buy food or pay rent. They couldn't do both. And so we began to have a meeting at Queen's Park every week. It was fantastic. And so here's why I began to get a new voice with this, and it was really something, those actions. Sometimes we did things that kind of disturbed them, and we did suffer a few arrests. But that was fine, because when you get arrested, you go to trial. And at trial, you get a chance to say what's going on and have a louder voice. And that became really, really important. And so that was the beginning of it. But I was a Brazilian. And Brazilians, after I came back from my second trip to Ghana, they said, how long are you going to do this? We need you to do something else. And I said, well, I don't think I can go back into schooling again. I'm too old, and I've never been a parish priest, so I don't know anything about running a parish. And they said, here's what we want you to do. We want you to run the formation program for young Brazilians in Toronto. I said, huh? He says, yes, we're going to send our young Brazilians from Canada and the United States to Mexico for their novitiate. They're going to spend a year in Mexico, and that's going to be culture shock. And you have been preparing people for culture shock. And then when they come back, they're going to come back and they're going to go into theology. And we want you to be the one who receives them back and run a house of studies for theologians. And help them to reintegrate what happened to them in Mexico. Wow. And then I asked them, where are they? Well, right now they're living in 95 St. Joseph Street, which is a great, big, huge building. The seminary built for 100 people, and they've got 4. I said, well, can I take them out of there? Where would you go? Well, there's an empty house right beside the Catholic Worker House. Oh! So we took them there. And we ran a formation program for the next 6 years where they were involved with the Catholic Worker at the, what's the restaurant we used to go and work at?
St. Francis.
Yeah, the table. And so that was something. All that time I was working with the Catholic workers and part of their community and getting arrested and things like that. And they called me in one day after I got arrested. They said, what are you teaching these young Brazilians? And I said, well, to stand up for social justice. And I said, I forbid them to get arrested because they take them out of their studies and, but they can come and find out about it. So that was really something. That was good work. And then once it went down to Mexico, they came back. I had to prepare them to go. And so One World has been preparing people to go into, other cultures for years. And so I had lots of ideas how to do that, and I did that. And then I actually went down to Mexico and spoke to them at Christmas, halfway through the novitiate, to see how they were doing. And then I welcomed them back to Toronto into first-year theology, and I helped them integrate that in. And that was really, really important work, and it worked. And I remember one time at the next chapter, somebody got up and said, that program being run in Parkdale next to the Catholic Worker, that's not a Brazilian formation program, that's Bob Holmes' program. And so I was rattled. I figured, oh my God, this may be the end of that. But I got up to the speaker and I said, look, there are 4 people in the room here who just come back from Mexico. Let's ask them what happened. And these 4 scholastics, 4 young Brazilians who are studying theology now, spoke. And they mentioned how hard it was. They mentioned the cross-cultural difficulties. They mentioned all the fears and everything we talked about. But they said, it changed my life. It changed my life. And one guy got up and said, Ben Chewy, you probably remember him, some of you. And he was from Hong Kong, and his family moved to Canada. And so he got up and he said, I did not want to go to Mexico. I really didn't enjoy Mexico. And I certainly don't want to go back. But it changed my life. I've been changed forever because of it. So wow, I thought that was